Welcome everyone to another Eternal Deck Tech. This is once again our Tournament of Power winner from January 2020. Starting right out. And we've got a good one. The last one that we're going to have, I imagine, before the new set drops. We have Idolize You by Celtic Guardian. Why Idolize You? Well, because we've done it, ladies and gentlemen, after many hours of grinding and trying a bunch of different decks in our Tournament of Power, where we take all of the sub decks and fight them off against the meta, leaving just one alive. We've proven that Idol of Destran is playable. So I kind of love this deck. It's a very typical kind of Praxis tokens type list besides the idols, and the fun thing is that everybody looks at Idol of Destran and they go, it's totally unplayable. And it's never really been true of Idol of Destran. Idol of Destran is not a bad card. It's just not a good one. The thing is that when you can play Idol of Destran in a deck, it was always fighting for space with things like Heart of the Vault, which, yeah, Heart of the Vault's much better, especially when it was pre-nerf, right, when it cost 6. You were always fighting against it with World Bearer Behemoth. You always had a lot of other things that you can fight it with. Here, though, I mean, like, it's still good in a lot of ways. It's not great, but you can definitely have it in play a lot of the time on turn 5 as an 8/8. And while that's not insane, it's more than playable. And we've seen that here. This deck is just kind of utilizing playing a bunch of go wide type strategies, and that really plays into the Idol of Destran, just becoming a very large threat very early. And this deck is trying to go a bit further with it, because the idea is that you play all of your like Grenadin drone, Sparkcatcher, Stinger, all these early plays, and then you get your Idol of Destran, and it doesn't stop there. The point of it is really to use the Idol of Destran to go for East Annex Smuggler into Novaquake Titan. Have a very early Novaquake, because Idol of Destran is a Sentinel, and you can have it really large, really early. So that's ultimately going to be our goal here. It's not necessarily about winning. This deck can definitely win, obviously. It spent the last 3 days that I've been playing doing a lot of winning. That's why it's the champion. But Idol of Destran into Novaquake Titan is the real goal. This is just to have a lot of fun. So I'm not saying that you should build this style of deck, and I'm sure that Celtic Guardian isn't either, like if you're trying to be super competitive. But if you want to have a very fun list that can actually still win quite a few games, this one's quite good. So you can kind of see the typical lines, like we said. There's the Groans, the Hatchers, the Stingers, all the very kind of good token type cards, your assembly line, Auralian Infestation, which is really nice, getting a few deadly units down early. And then you've got Obelisk to just punch that damage through, Sandstorm Titan to stop the big flyers that you're going to deal with that might be a problem. Same with Marisen's Disciple. Marisen's Disciple being able to get some locusts can really buy you a lot of time against other decks with flyers, or just totally stop them, period. Like, you can make them into 3/3s, so you can fight off things like Valkyrie Enforcer. And then you've got Kairos' Choice, which is kind of a newer addition to a lot of Praxis lists, if you've ever seen any Praxis token lists. The old ones, obviously, were before kind of the newer set and wouldn't have had that. And we've got the Granite Waystones as well on our power base to get that little bit of extra oomph for some more tokens that we can build. The market is geared a lot towards stopping flyers, because like you said before, Sandstorm Titan is really your only main deck way to deal with big ones. You've got some Kairos' Choice, but they're not going to deal with a lot of very large flyers. So you're going to run Ghar, you're going to run Scorpion Wasp, and then of course, if you're very lucky, you get that Novaquake Titan. So that's the idea here. Waystone Fragment I really like in the market as well, as just a way when you're behind in a game, but you still just kind of want to race and beat them to the punch. You can go for a Waystone Fragment, gain a bunch of life, and throw them for a loop, because most decks aren't going to expect you to just suddenly gain, 6, 7, 8 life off of a Waystone Fragment out of nowhere and pump your team. And that can really throw a race into question here. So some cool things here. One thing that you could do is you could maybe add some crests, but I actually really like the idea of not running crest in this deck, because you're essentially an aggro deck. You are focused on getting your curve out really fast, so you might be tempted if you play this deck to be like, well, why is there no crest? Maybe I should slam them. No, the reason why there's not is that this deck isn't going to have depleted power. You're never going to run into a problem where on turn 1 and turn 2, you have an opening hand, you've got 2 crests, and you're like, well, man, I really want to go drone into Hatcher, but I can't. I'm just going to be a lot slower than that. And you don't have that issue here. And sure, you miss out on the scout, but I'm not sure that that's actually a huge detriment to the deck to just make sure that its mana is very consistent and always coming into play undepleted. Depleted power is a bigger downside than what people would think about normally. In any case, we're going to run it through some games. Thank you all so much for stopping by. Again, big thank you to all of the subs and patrons who send these decks in to do these tournaments at the end of every month. If you are a sub or patron and you haven't done it, we have a Discord that's open to everybody, not just subs and patrons, but there is a specific part of it where you can drop in your deck, and I will play it on stream, and then we'll also add it into this month-end tournament, and if you win, then hey, we do a little video on the deck and talk about it and just have a lot of fun with it. So thanks everybody who does all that support. I do appreciate it a lot, and we're going to go through some games.